welcome to another exciting episode of Becoming the Product. I hope we're all doing well. I hope our Monday is going on fine. Today, I am excited to share a personal win and take you behind the scenes of how I recently secured second place in the Enyata Buildathon using local tools. It has been such an incredible experience, and I thought it would be fun to walk you through my journey, how I almost didn't even apply, what my process looked like, and some key tips that I believe helped me stand out in the competition. So let's get right into it. A couple of weeks ago, in one of the WhatsApp groups that I currently am in, someone had shared the link to the Buildathon. At first glance, I thought it was the usual, hackathon. You must be in a team, you must code, you must do all that. But after I took a closer look, I realized it was open to not just like team, but also individuals. And the best part was that it could be from any field. It could be a data scientist, a product designer. You didn't have to have a particular skill. You just needed to have a problem to solve. And I didn't even still think much of it. I even sent the link to a few people in my circle. I was like, this might be useful to you to apply and for you to gain extra skills. But the next day, I went back into it because it just kept me, as in hitting me that you should look at this, you should look at this. And that was when it hit me. Why not go for it? Why not use this to practice all that you've learned so far? I had this problem statement that I had been working and thinking about a couple of months, but I hadn't really looked into it. It was just something that I felt that there should be a solution for. And I decided to just use that as my submission. So I looked at the problem statement, I refined it a little bit, and I submitted my application. And just like that, I was in. So once I decided to participate, I knew I needed a plan. So I put a lot of things in place. I drew up my project plan on Nifty. I drew up my strategy. And the solution I went with is what we call, or what I called Geek Secure. So Geek Secure is an AI-powered digital marketplace designed to connect freelancers, gig workers to affordable microinsurance premiums. I knew this was a real pain point in the gig economy, and I wanted to see if I could tackle it in a meaningful way. Now, let me share some key tips that I believed helped me stand out during this competition, especially since I was using no-code tools, which made it easier for me to kind of move quickly and efficiently. Tip number 1 is understand the competition instructions. Now, this might sound basic, but you really need to take time to understand what the competition is asking for, what the hackathon is asking for, what the buildathon is asking for. I spent hours, if not an entire day, breaking down the website, breaking down the rules and regulations to ensure that I wasn't missing anything and ensure that I wouldn't go out of scope. We also had these mentorship sessions during the competition, and I made sure I attended each and every one of them. I think I missed just the last one, and they were super helpful. And I ensured I took in all the advice that the mentors were given. The feedback they gave was very invaluable, and I made sure I incorporated that in my strategy and in my solutions. So when you have in this kind of competition, make sure you take your time to read what it is they are telling you to do. And if you have other things, like if they're giving you sessions like this, make sure you attend, because in whatever they are giving you, they're going to give you tips on how to move forward, and you shouldn't miss all that. Tip number 2, play to your strengths. Now, I'm a product manager. I've never built a tool before, never done anything like this before remotely. I've only worked with teams that build, and I only managed the process, but the actual building, that was not me. So I knew I wasn't going to have the upper hand technically compared to those who were more experienced as coders or as developers. So I leaned into my strengths. Product management, all my documentations, all the steps, I made sure I documented everything. Understanding the user, I carried out user research in multiple ways, surveys. I tried to do some group discussions. I reverse engineered some competitors, and I showed a clear value proposition. I kept my focus on delivering a solid product vision, a simple and effective user experience, and a well-defined solution to the problem at hand. And make sure I hit and tick all those boxes. Tip number 3 is use the right tools. So since I wasn't like the technical person and my whole idea was focused on using no-code tools, I had to do a lot of research. So I did a lot of research on which tools had the lowest learning curve and could help me achieve my goal quickly. I used FlutterFlow for the front end. I used Supabase for the database storage. I use BuildShip for the backend logic and OpenAI APIs to add the AI capabilities that I needed for one of the features. The great thing about these no-code tools is that they all have some form of AI integration or templates that makes the building a lot faster. So I leveraged on AIs and leveraged on those templates to cut my time building in half. Plus, they help you get a working prototype out there even if you don't have deep technical background. So ensure you research all this and play to your strengths, the one that you feel you can use to make your work easier, to make it faster. Ensure you do that. Tip number 4, make sure your solution works. One thing I've learned in all the capstones and everything I did, especially from the judges, was that ensure what you're selling works. Ensure you can see it. If you're saying this solution solves this problem, ensure they see it in your demos. So it's not about having 10 features, it's not about having 20 features. If you have just one feature and you're able to make that feature work, you've succeeded. So even if you're focusing on just that one, make sure it's functional and it demos exactly what you claim it does. This was important for me for Gig Secure because I knew that I had a lot of things I wanted the solution to have, but I knew I didn't have that time or the resources to ensure it worked. So I just picked one of the features and I made sure that it worked from the beginning to end and it delivered the result it was supposed to deliver, and it keyed into the value proposition I was selling as well. So this helped me. I believe helped me to sell the idea and sell my product in a more impactful way. Now, the last tip is the presentation side. Keep your presentation simple and relatable. In this, for the presentation for me, even though I had numerous slides, like the slides were so much, but during the presentations, I saw that the feedback they kept giving was, you have just 5 minutes. We want to see a live demo of your solution. And that was like the two major things. So I knew there was no way I could do my 15 to 20 slides in 5 minutes and still demo the product. So I recorded the demo and I said, okay, I was just going to focus on two things. I was going to focus on the why, which is the problem statement, why this is a problem, the value proposition, how your solution solves this problem, then the live demo. Those were my 3 major points. But then during other people's presentation, I noticed that they were also asking that, why are you showing recordings? So some people recorded the situation, and this is supposed to be a live demo. So I had to think quick on my feet. Just before I was called up, I realized that I couldn't show the recording I was supposed to show. So I went and used this solution, this software called Blisk. I don't know if you guys know it. And I used that to do a live demo of the mobile app that I built. So simplicity is key. Listen to the feedbacks that you're getting from your fellow competitors and try to incorporate that in your presentation. Focus on 3 major points: the why, the problem statement, why is this a problem, the value proposition, what your solution does to that problem, and do ensure you demo the solution and have enough time for that demo. Live demo, it was specific. Live demo. So I kept extra details, like I had my business model, I had my slides, so in case any questions was asked, it was there. So it's not like I just went and did 3 slides. I did a full slide deck, 15 to 20 slides if I've not forgotten, but I focused on just 3 for the presentation, and the rest were there should in case questions were raised. So ensure that all these are there and ensure that the core message is clear and concise. I also used storytelling. I wasn't just reading off the slides. I used my story of why I chose this problem and tried to relate it. This helps make your presentation more relatable because people connect more with stories, especially when they can see themselves in the problem you're solving. So there is it. These were the tips I believe I used and I focused on that gave me that extra nudge. I will do a lot more detailed analysis of my solution on social media, so you can always check my LinkedIn profile to see exactly what solution it was and the in-depth details on how I achieved this. But I just wanted to tell a story of how all this is possible and to also give you that extra push. I did this buildathon because one of my goals for this year was to ensure that I had a product, to ensure that I put all my theory, because throughout last year was basically boot camps up until April this year, and I haven't really had a live product to say, okay, this is what I did. So when this buildathon came out, it was a validation session for me to ensure that all the things I've been learning, I actually learned something. And I was super like, you can't imagine how I felt when I got that email that I placed in the top 3 out of so many people. After making 10 top 50, I listened to a lot of solutions that day, a lot of amazing solutions, and to think that I was in the top 3 was just validation for me. Aside the funds, yeah, the funds is an extra added benefit, but for me it was validation. So these tips helped me, or I believe helped me, secure my second position. And I focus not just on the solution like most people do, it's focus on the problem. One of the key instructions in this hackathon was you needed solutions that had an impact in the African economy. So you needed to, even if you didn't have lots of features or you didn't know how to code, as long as your solution was going to be very impactful and you were able to sell that and show that, I believe that could have helped. So things I felt that helped me was clearly understanding the problem, leveraging the right tools, making sure I could communicate the value of the solutions effectively. So if you're thinking of doing any buildathon or hackathon or any type of competition, always remember that it's not always about being the most technical person in the room. It's about understanding the problem deeply, using your strengths to your advantage, and being able to present your solution in a compelling way. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you have any questions on what I did, like I said, I'm going to share a little bit more deeper analysis of exactly what I did for this buildathon on LinkedIn, so ensure you're following me there. We have a newsletter, we have social media platforms. You can leave your comments on Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitter, whichever one you like. Subscribe and ensure that you catch up on all past episodes and also listen to this particular one. In the previous episode, I actually talked with Dele on how you can convert an idea to an MVP using the same no-code tool. So no-code tools is something that can help you as PMs to quickly validate ideas without having to think of, oh, I need to code, I need to do this. No, there are so many tools at your advantage. So you can have a listen to that to see how to really do it. Then have a listen to this to understand how to win competitions like this. And I'll see you in the next episode. Have a great week.